Namaskar. I would like to request everyone to just for a minute close your eyes and imagine a scenario. Please, if everybody could. So there is a group of people, violent people, a mob, and there is a group of police personnel who are trying to control this mob. Now, can I ask you, when you picture this scene, how many of you imagined all of them to be men? Can I have hands raised? Yeah, I think around 70% thought all the group of police to be men. How many thought 50, 60% men and 40% women, police officers? Just one hand or two, I think. And how many thought all women? Now, another scenario, if you can just imagine. It's an operation theater, and it's a complex brain surgery, and there is a surgeon, and there are certain nursing assistants. Now, when you imagine this scenario, what do you imagine? How many, if you can raise hands, imagine the doctor to be a male doctor, and the nursing assistants to be sisters? Yes, I think majority. And how many imagine it to be the reverse? A female surgeon and nursing assistants to be brothers? 20%. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Lavina Sinha. I am an MD medicine physician by degree and a serving Indian Police Service officer, and currently posted in the city. And today I will talk about gender stereotypes, the myths, and the changing scenarios. So when we were training in the National Police Academy, our batch of 135 had around 33 female officers. And the training of a police is physically quite rigorous. And most of the times, the parameters for both men and female officer trainees are equal. And it is quite a struggle, even for me, to be able to do that kind of physical exertion, because mostly, like most girls, a lot of times we are not exposed to that kind of physical exertion in our early life. And when the exams come in, because the training, they don't differentiate between male or female officer trainees, so when we have our final exams, even the parameters for the exams are same. Most of the exams entail battle obstacle training, are running marathons, firing practice, and a 40-kilometer route march that we have to complete with a 5 kg rifle load and a 10 kg backpack. And both men and women have to complete that in a certain stipulated time period. And I would like to share that most women officers, all of them in fact, completed and passed this exam. But there were a few male officers who had to again give the exam and who could not. So the point here is that a lot of us think about imaginary walls or blocks. They are basically everything that we have pictured in our mind. The only blocks and walls that we create are the ones in our mind. And if mentally we think we have overcome the obstacle or the challenge, then there is absolutely nothing that we cannot achieve. So there is a famous quotation by Muhammad Ali that champions have to have the skill and the will. But the will needs to be stronger than the skill. So what determines your success is how much will you have to hustle, to struggle, and to not give up until you've reached your goal. Now, having passed out of the police academy, it is quite shocking when I came to the field. When I was posted in the district, most often everybody would have come across how people address us. So my staff would address me as sir. And I did not know how to take it as a compliment. I was in a dilemma, basically. And once we had a very casual discussion with my staff, and one of them shared this bit. He said, we do not have a problem in calling you madam, but often it has been that officers have said that they should be called sir. And that is because it is that when you're called sir, you are given the same respect and authority that your position or your rank or your posting deserves. So it is not about who is there in the position. The sir nomenclature is associated with a position of leadership. It is associated with a position of authority, which, because so far traditionally it has been in the society that men have dominated, even in the police department, we have a huge number of male as compared to female officers. So that is why the sir is just a representation of that. And when I requested them, they said, okay, fine. We have an innovation that everybody is aware. So there is the term called Madam Sir. So that is trying to pacify both. The fact that you are a sir, that means you are commanding that position of authority. But at the same time, you are a woman, so we will respect you with that. And it is not quite different even from the medical field, since I have experienced it when I was studying for it. That when in wards, as doctors also when we go, when we are training, a female officer, a female lady in white coat is most often referred to as sister. It is only when the patient or relative says ki sahab kab aayenge, and you say ki hum hi sahab hai, so then they were like acha. No, so then in medical field, thankfully, the ratios have been increasing, so they are fine, that okay, she is the doctor who's going to treat. So these kinds of discrepancies exist, but there are two things that we need to derive out of it. The fact that there are such innovations, like you will have somebody say, my mom is my superhero. It is a transition. When we say Singhams, and now there is Lady Singham in police, so that is a transition. And these innovations of Madam Sir, Lady Singham, or even superheroes is testimony to two facts. The first, that yes, these areas, the position of authority, leadership, have been dominated or been taken by men so far. But second, and most importantly, which is positive, is that the society is changing. We are in transition, we are preparing to accept different roles, yet with some innovation, and we are still on that path. So I feel there will be a time when leaders won't be defined as male leader or a female leader, and it will just be that he or she is a leader. So these things are not just limited to physical aspects. Like most of the IPS training had physical challenges that we had to face, barring the academic that we had already appeared for the exam and fulfilled. And more often, every year, the number of females entering into forces, in paramilitary forces, in police force, has already broken that glass ceiling when it comes to the physical capabilities or capacities. But there are many myths in different areas of walks of life. Like for example, a famous myth is that women can't do good maths, science, and technology. And often there are jokes about this. But most recently, a group of lady scientists from ISRO made the entire nation proud and made the world recognize the contribution that women can make to the world of space technology. So that is how we are changing. And what is most amazing and what I felt very happy was this one newspaper headline that I read, that not all women, not all heroes wear capes, but some wear saris. So although there is a lot of paradigm in this, all heroes and capes and saris, but a group of women, comfortable in their own skin, wearing saris, doing their job, doing the math, science, technology that so far everybody believed women are less intelligent enough to do, and excelling at it and proving their point. So there can be nothing more beautiful than we accepting our capabilities and being comfortable in our own skin. For example, if I am wearing a bindi like I am wearing today, it does not take away the fact that I will make the same tough decisions on paper, in the file, or when I'm on field. So it is not the person who occupies the position, but it is rather the person who has the ability and capability that makes the difference when he or she occupies that position. And having said that, coming to a norm which is also so well established in our society is about settling down. So if you're academically settled, you are still unsettled unless you are married. If you're married, you are still not settled until you have a baby. And these things often mostly are hindering the women to progress as compared to the men. And when it comes to settling, I feel, this is what I have always believed, is we needn't settle based upon what the society expects of us. We need to settle for our goals, our dreams, and what we have set in mind. For example, when I finished my medicine, mostly people said that, no, now you should settle down. And that's when I took the plunge and I said, no, I'm now going to start a new dream and I want to appear for the All India Service Exams, UPSC. Because life itself is all about growth. If you feel you are settled very well as a homemaker or as a professional in whatever profession you carry here, you will always stop growing. Growth is all about new dreams and new learning. So you can never be old enough or experienced enough to have a new dream or to have a new learning. So I would just say that always dream a different dream every day. It could be a hobby, it could be a passion, it could be an entrepreneurship, it could also just be self-care. That today I decide that my goal is that this year I'm going to give importance to myself and my own health or my own passions. But dream a different dream each day. And that is how growth happens. And as we talk about the norms in the society, my parents are proud parents. We are two sisters who've done them proud. There is a saying कि हमारी लड़कियां लड़कों जैसी हैं. They are very proud to say that my daughters are like sons to us. And I remember that even in the academy once it had happened that one of my female colleagues, she stood first, beating all the male officers in the running race, in the half marathon that we had. And an elated ustad, who's also from the forces, we have ustads as our trainers, he was very, very happy. And out of that sheer happiness, he stated the dialogue from that movie, "Mari chori choro se kam hai ka?" And no doubt, he is very proud. You know, it has never happened. He has put in his blood and soil and trained her. But yet, the fact is that our success or our achievements, often we ourselves compare it to the existing standards. And these standards are mostly set by men because traditionally they have been in these positions. So what I would like to say is that we need to, now the fight is not about having a seat at the table. Most of us, even this room, I feel, is very good balanced. So as women, we have already found a seat at the table. It is the time that we need to create a table with new rules, new equitable atmospheres, new traditions, and new standards for judging or gauging our success. It does not have to be that today, if I am in a position where I have to prove that I'm equally capable, I should wear a pantsuit, or I should act tough, use a rough language, sometimes even start abusing just to show, oh, I'm a tough boss. It just means that we need to be comfortable in what we are and get that USP that we have. Women are credited to be excellent caregivers, whether they are in a profession or not. But the profession of caregiving can never be replaced or overtaken when it comes to women. Excellent caregivers, we have the art of multitasking, which is incomparable. Probably it's genetic. There is empathy, compassion, an eye for detailing, and sincerity that we bring on the table to any profession or anything that we join hands to. So we need to be accepting our USPs, accepting our positive, and working hard to try and make that space and create new standards to gauge our success. And this will not be complete without support. It needs support of all the male members here. It needs support of women as well, supporting other women, when we are trying to create this change in the society. A supportive, collaborative, and cooperative relationship atmosphere is the most conducive to growth when it comes to both men and women. And this begins at home. Today in our neighborhood, when we have sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, even when we have our own friends in our friend circle, we need to start this conversation and inculcate the same values and standards that we feel both deserve equally. So at last, I would just like to say this one quotation, that we have begun to raise our daughters like our sons, but the world will become an equitable society when we start raising our sons like daughters. Thank you organizers. Jai Hind.